Hello, everyone. Welcome to the News Browse News broadcast. CBC News reports that Honda has indefinitely suspended its plans for a $15 billion electric vehicle complex in Ontario. The automaker initially paused the project last May, intending to review the EV market in 2 years. However, a definitive suspension has now been announced following Japanese media reports. Honda cited revised strategic objectives and changing market conditions, including a decline in EV demand and the rollback of environmental regulations in the U.S. and other factors. The decision coincides with Honda posting its first-ever full-year loss of $2.7 billion U.S. The company assured that current employment and production levels at its Alliston, Ontario plant would not be affected. The project, which could have created 1,000 manufacturing jobs and produced 240,000 vehicles annually by 2028, was announced in April 2024, with pledges of $2.5 billion each from both the Canadian federal and Ontario provincial governments, none of which Honda has received. Ontario Premier Doug Ford is facing strong criticism from political opponents after details emerged about nearly $200,000 in extra costs incurred by the government for the brief ownership of a private jet. Global News reports that a flurry of invoices and contracts revealed the timeline for the purchase and resale of a second-hand Bombardier Challenger 650. While the government initially quoted the plane's price at $28.9 million, records show that this figure omitted harmonized sales tax, HST, pushing the total cost above $30 million. Furthermore, a briefing note confirmed that public funds were spent on an aviation acquisition expert, $18,000, aircraft management services, $140,000, and an external legal expert, the $33,000, totaling nearly $200,000 that Bombardier did not repay. Opposition leaders, including Ontario Liberal Interim Leader John Fraser and NDP leader Mary E. Stiles, lambasted Ford, accusing him of burning through taxpayer money and misrepresenting the costs. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation also condemned the premier, stating that $200,000 went down the drain. Ford's office has not yet responded to questions regarding these additional expenses. CTV News reports that a 38-year-old man is facing multiple charges after an incident involving a stolen school bus in Ajax, Ontario. Police responded to an impaired driving call at a McDonald's drive-thru on May 11th, where a shortened school bus was seen driving erratically before colliding with a barrier. The driver, later identified as Tanner John Davis, initially provided a false name during his arrest. Authorities allege that he stole the bus from a North York bus yard in Toronto, causing damage to other unoccupied buses in the process, and also pilfered radios and keys. Charges include impaired operation of a vehicle, 2 counts of possession of property obtained by crime over $5,000, obstructing police, and 3 counts of breach of probation. Global News reports that Honda Canada has indefinitely suspended the construction of its $15 billion electric vehicle plant in Alliston, Ontario. The Japanese automaker confirmed the halt on Thursday, attributing it to evolving business conditions, changes in external resource strategy, and shifting customer demand. The project, initially announced in 2024, with production slated for 2028, had already faced a 2-year delay in 2025 due to a slowdown in the EV market. The company cited the rollback of environmental regulations and U.S. policies under President Donald Trump's administration, including reduced EV incentives and tariffs, as contributing factors. This decision comes as Honda posted its first-ever full-year loss of $2.7 billion, with EV operations losses estimated at $16 billion. While the suspension does not impact current employment or production at its existing Alliston facility, It puts on hold the potential creation of 1,000 new jobs. Both the Canadian federal and Ontario provincial governments had committed significant financial support, totaling up to $5 billion for the project. Prime Minister Mark Carney is set to announce Canada's highly anticipated clean electricity strategy today, as reported by City News Everywhere. The federal government has previously indicated plans to double the capacity of the national power grid by 2050 to meet rapidly increasing demand. This surge is driven by new requirements, including the adoption of electric vehicles, the proliferation of data centers, and an increase in defense industrial production. A discussion paper will be released to gather input from provinces and territories on modernizing the grid. The strategy also addresses the continued reliance on diesel generation in some remote communities, such as Nunavut, and includes a commitment to expand nuclear power with a specific agreement with Alberta to develop its own nuclear generation strategy by 2050. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.